Hey everyone, happy Purple Friday today. It's your girl Menina with Legacy Book Bar. This is episode 10 of the Sip and Chat. And as you know, your girl is a uber huge football fan and Ravens fan all rolled in together. So today I am embracing Purple Friday. I have my hat, I have my jersey ready. We play the Steelers Sunday, so I am embracing all things Ravens for the next few days until we play the Steelers, okay? So tonight, I cannot believe it has literally been 10 episodes, and we have a really good following with our Sip and Chat. And, of course, it is Halloween Eve. Woo! Right. I don't like horror stories. I get scared and have major nightmares. It's so crazy. But it is what it is. I deal. And tonight I have the honor of having the first signed author in the fantasy genre, Malachi Bailey. So, hey, Malachi, tell everyone hi.
Hello, people. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for having me, Menina.
Yeah, of course. So, those that don't know, I actually met Malachi at the Baltimore Book Expo back in February.
Yeah.
And he was so personable. I went to all of the tables that was there, and I said, I just published my story today. I wanted to come down and say hi to everybody. So people can see what I'm doing. And he's like, tell me more. And of course, I told him more. Why wouldn't I? And here we are today. Yeah. So it's been, a lot of stuff going on in the world since the last time we saw each other. So how have you been?
I've been okay. It's been, as you know, a very interesting year. With the whole coronavirus. I was talking to a friend of mine maybe 2 days ago, and he and a bunch of other friends came down from New York, for the Film Expo, and we had a great time, and then we had dinner afterwards, and we had this this great group photo, and I was looking at that photo the other day, and I was like, who would know that in just a few weeks after that event, the whole world will shut down because of this coronavirus? Like, now when I leave the house, I always have my mask on. Even when I'm taking out the trash, it's second nature now. But back in February, it was kind of like, okay, let's get the books out there. Let's get our signs. Let's network. Let's have a great time. But it has definitely changed. It's a complete 180. And, like so many other people, we're managing, but, we're still blessed. We're still here.
Absolutely. I tell everyone I hit publish on my website for the bookstore on February the 1st, and then insert COVID, March 15th. So, so many businesses have had to either close temporarily, if not having to close for good. And it has just been crazy out here. I pray for everyone, especially small businesses that are either having to start from scratch or lay off employees because they just can't afford it now. Now was the time, I tell everyone, to support small businesses because it was tough for them pre-COVID. So you can imagine how hard it is for them now amongst COVID. And let's be real, we're going to be in this new normal of masks and extra hand sanitizers and wipes and not being with your family, all, 11 of them if you have a big family, until at least 2022. Like it's not going to be a good handle on it. We're just, that second wave we haven't even hit yet, and we still got to get through. So we just got to buckle down, be prepared, be safe, and be smart. Where you're going, who you're going to be with, because you just never know. Unfortunately, it's just best we're gonna have to do for right now. So, but we're here.
Yes,
we're selling books. We're writing stories, living a dream, right?
Pretty much. It's interesting because that I've been pushing this book for a minute now, and recently, her made a transition into the comic books. So a lot of my friends, we were commenting on the fact that the only good thing about this pandemic is that people are forced to stay home and they're forced to read. So it's like, if you want to read my stuff.
Exactly. Like, why not? Where are you going?
Read it. I know you're going.
Exactly. That's what I must say. My entire store, as you know, is all online. So, we were able to still maintain. We didn't have the immediate visibility that we were anticipating, of course. But we were still able to keep social media up and running. Post offices never closed. So we were still able to ship books for people that ordered online. So that has helped. But like you said, everyone's home. You, little Johnny, Sarah, everybody's home. They can't play video games forever. I mean, at some point you're going to beat the video games, and then what's next? So you might as well buy a book or 3. Why not yours? So,
yes.
So Malachi, we have so much to talk about because me. I cyber stalked your pages.
I would hope you would.
Because we got we want to talk about this book, but I want to talk about the comics because Legacy doesn't have a comic book section. So I'm trying to figure out who's going to be the first to take over that section in the bookstore. So we want to talk about that.
Okay.
So we got a couple of comments. Our faithful listeners, my mom, hey, she said, hello, Menina and Malachi. TB Love said, hello, Malachi. We got Tierra Reed that says Malachi and a whole exclamation points. And then we have Brian J. Lambert that says, I know that guy.
Yes, I know him too.
Good. So hopefully you guys will stick around for a little bit. We are going to have a lot to talk about. So, Malachi, with that being said, tell us about yourself and what made you want to become this fabulous author that you are.
I wouldn't say fabulous, meaning us.
I'm going to say all of my authors are fabulous, darling.
I'm going to take it then. I'll take it. So, for me, I've always been a storyteller. As far back as I can remember, my mom, she was a big instrumental part in me wanting to pursue this path. So when I was about 8 or 9, my grandfather had a newspaper subscription to Newsday, which is a newspaper in Long Island. And I would always go for the Sunday comic strips because I had to read like Brenda Starr, and they would have Archie comics in there and Dagwood and all those classics. And I would read those every Sunday, and then I would actually do my own stories with my action figures. So my sister and my brother, they were my my partners in crime, and we had that as a source of information or inspiration. And my mom was huge in soap operas. Like it was terrible. It was such terrible television. It was like with the evil twin, so and so's back from the dead, and the person takes forever to die in the hospital bed. We were raised on that, and we came to respect that. And we would come home from school like around 3:00, and mommy's in front of the television watching General Hospital, and what happened to Sonny Corinthos this time? Who tried to shoot him, and Luke and Laura and all that good stuff.
So, I had a huge crush on Sonny Corinthos, child.
You know what?
I had 10,000 heart attacks. I ain't even gonna lie. And the first time he got shot, not the other 6 times, but that
You know,
first
they
time
hit it multiple times now.
broke my heart. Let me tell you. Let me just.
But you know what's interesting though? You know, now that, you know, so many of us have to work from home, so, you know, you have to start doing like the home office. And, you know, with me being home, I had a television on in the background, and I tuned in, you know, the General Hospital like 30 years later. And would you know, Sonny Corinthos is still there. He is still a mob boss. He looks a bit weathered because he's been there for 30 years.
The longest tenured mobster I have ever
Yes.
known
I
to
mean,
last
you got
television.
children. They have children. I mean, it's hilarious.
I know.
But you know, so General Hospital, One Life to Live, you know, all my children, you know, the ABC soaps, you know, and as well as the comic strips, they served as a gateway for my storytelling. And then when I got older and it became, you know, cool to read comic books, you know, I fell in love with the X-Men. Now, if anyone who knows me, they know that I am obsessed with Storm. Like, she is the best character ever. Like, I will fight everyone and their mother and their cousin and the neighbor down the street if they say anything about Storm. Don't choke. But you know, seeing this strong, you know, black character who was not just an X-Man, but she was a leader, you know, on the team. You know, that spoke to me on a deep level. You know, and it wasn't just the, you know, the big hair or the shoulder pad or the stiletto boots, which were hot in their own right, but it was just her presence. And I knew that I wanted to have a character similar to her, or pay you know, respect to this character, because again, Storm is everything. So having the comic books play, you know, a big part into my storytelling, and then of course with the backdrop of the soap operas and the comic strips, I guess I was destined to, you know, to pursue this path. And so here we are, you know, 25 years later, and just now I'm finally getting to write my own comic books. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a blessing. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love the feel good stories. And this is the reason I created Legacy Book Bar. I was like, the stories that the authors, their personal stories,
Mm-hmm.
people need to know why they are doing what they're doing. And the need for us on print
Mm-hmm.
is we need that. Like, we are just as talented, just as gorgeous, just as fly, that we should be on print. We should be on television. But in our world, in the book industry, why can't we grace the cover of comic books?
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, we didn't have that. I think all we had was Storm. Maybe, you know, maybe a handful of others, but you know, we weren't mainstream. So I'm loving the fact that comics are now becoming just as popular as romance, just as popular as urban fiction. I actually get a lot of questions like, where's your comic books? And I'm like, working on it.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, you know, and I have to explain to them, you know, I am small, I'm independent.
Mm-hmm.
I work primarily with self-published authors. So, you know, I find them, they find me,
Mm-hmm.
and then depending on their genres, you know, we get them in the store the best way that we can. But I'm so itching to have that comic book, because let me tell you, baby, the fans out here their Comic Cons. I went to one, had no idea that Comic Con could sell out a convention center easily.
Across the board too.
Yes, had no clue. So I cannot wait to find or even create that first Black Comic Con. Oh, that's a whole nother story.
Well, have you heard of BlurredCon?
No, where's that?
Okay, so BlurredCon, it's considered the first Black Comic Con. You can't exclude other races because that's illegal, but it's primarily for us. And there's a lot of vendors who provide their indie comic books there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of networking, a lot of relationships are forged. And I went to the one in 2018. I met friends. Most of them were wearing, the cosplay costumes, which were phenomenal. One of my dear friends, Dana Holmes, he is a prolific cosplayer, and I know he spends a great deal of money on just like the pieces of the costumes. I mean, I was seeing some pictures because they're so cool. But
I would love it. I would love it. Yes.
It's a cool experience. You feel, the sense of fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
I went 2018 and I went 2019, and it was just being in that space, knowing that these were people who are like-minded, who were getting their product out there. I want to say during that time, I met my friend Brian Lambert, the one who's watching now. We clicked, and so he sent me an offer I could not refuse. He was like, "Hey, Malachi, would you be interested in making her into a comic book?" And so I was like, inside I'm doing cartwheels and backflips and somersaults and all that stuff, and I was like, I'll consider it on the outside, but I was going crazy inside.
As you should.
And yeah, so I told him, I said, yeah, we can do it. I'm definitely interested. So this past June, we had our first Kickstarter, campaign, and we were promoting the first comic book for Wingless Comics, which is the company called Justice. You would like him because it's about an angel who decides to come to Earth to look for God, but he's black and he has dreads. Yes.
Oh, what?
So,
God.
He's the flagship character.
Okay.
Her is going to be the elemental on the side, and then we have another character who is one of my personal favorites called Caliburn. He's like the Michael Ealy type.
Okay.
But he's good. So he's kind of like a mercenary. But we're slowly but surely, building our little world. So we're doing a Kickstarter now called Nightfall. And with other companies, Constant Hustle Studios, as well as Concept Moon. And they brought in their own characters who are black. So it's something that is exciting, it's challenging, it's rewarding, and ultimately it's just it's going to happen regardless. We've all been here, since this country began. We are in the soil, in the bedrock of this country. So
absolutely,
it's, I'm really excited about the comic book. I cannot wait to do it.
Yes. So Brian is faithfully in the comment section.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he is.
He said, Sunny, ? Nope. Brian is now the longest tenured mobster. Given Mal offers he can't refuse.
I mean,
that might go down as the best comment of the night. Thank you so much, Brian, for that one. And Brian, you and Legacy gonna have a conversation later about your comic books, bro. I didn't forget about you, so we're gonna talk about that one. So Malachi, tell us, in your journey of writing, what's the one thing? Well, first tell us, how long have you been writing? Like, I want to say professionally, I guess we should say.
I've been writing really since I was about 8, so about 29 years.
Okay.
But I released, the first edition of her in 2016, and then re-released it last October.
Okay.
So we'll say on paper 5 years, but I've always been writing.
Gotcha. Okay. So in all this time, I know you probably have journals upon journals of different writing stories, short stories, comics. now that you've transitioned into that professional published writer, what's one thing you wish you knew then that you know now?
I wish that initially I always had the confidence that I have now.
Okay.
When I first got into, this business, I felt like I was lost. I didn't have a strong mentorship. I didn't feel like I had a teacher of sorts. And I think if I had one that was more into developing the story, fleshing out my characters, you know about the hero's journey, but is this one character that you can live without? You can live without him? Okay, then delete him. Find something else. I was more hands-on that way. And that would help me feel more centered when I first released the book. So when I first released her, I wasn't happy. I wasn't crazy about, the original book cover. And I wasn't happy with the typos that were in the book, because at that point it's visible to the world. And they always tell you, don't read the comment section, whether it's on social media, or don't read your reviews on Amazon. And they also say, don't read your own book. And I did all of those things.
Everything they told you not to do.
I did it. And I was so sick to my stomach. I was so embarrassed because, maybe it's the human condition, but, you could have 10 people say, hey, it was great. It was phenomenal. But it's that one idiot who's like, you know what? It sucked. And that's the one you zero in on, like, how dare you? So, so for me, like my first time, out there, out in the open, I wasn't sure of who I was, and what I wanted. And having taken the book off the shelves for, what was some years, Menina? It was about 2.5 years I took it off. Because I did a crowdfunding campaign through Indiegogo about 3 years ago to get a proper editor, for the book. Now I had a sci-fi and fantasy editor who could look for things that may be missing in my book. What are we doing here with this character? What kind of powers do they have? So I finally got that editor, and so he did that for me. He did his thing. I loved it. And back to, okay, so the book cover. And the good thing about the book cover is that this was always the book cover that I wanted, because a dear friend of mine, she illustrated this for me.
Okay.
So I didn't use it initially because there's some things going on that we couldn't get it in time, for the book to be. And so we had to use the backup book cover. So when I was in a place where I was sure of myself, when I was sure of my destination, when I was sure of the finances, of the commitment level, when I was sure of Malachi, I was able to do it the way I wanted. And now I'm very happy with the book. Where now I'm in the process of working on the sequel that I want to release shortly.
Legacy loves sequels. It's
gonna happen.
And my authors, I try to have a really good rapport with my authors, and I am probably there after mom, dad, grandparents. I'm probably like the next number one fan, because I get totally invested in the books, because I forget sometimes. Ma'am, you are supposed to be reading this book to determine, like, you have to read this book. You are not a fan today. And so I'm like, oh crap, all right, let me reread it, because I'm supposed to have my business owner hat on, not the, I just got a new book in. I can't do it. It's so hard. It's so hard. I know authors would be like, is she gonna give me a response? That's because I probably had to read it again, because the first time I read it like a fan. Sorry. But I love the texture of a book, especially a good book. And then, I tell everyone, the whole purpose of this bookstore was to be able to say, I can go to a bookshelf and every book on the bookshelf is a Black author, no matter the genre. That was the whole purpose. Because we are not, all of us are not in Barnes and Nobles. We're not a million, so thankfully, even though Amazon cut into a lot of the smaller independent bookstores that we had in the 90s, mid 90s and early 2000s, they are slowly coming back, and they're coming back with a force because more of us are reading. More of us are not ashamed to say we read, because I think that was key with a lot of people. And then now it's, you can market, I just have a comic book store, or I just do children's book. And people will flock to that because they want us. They want to see us in print. So they flock to it and they love it. And I'm just a fan, because it's like, to me, my house is now my own personal library with all these books in it.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
I love it.
When I moved from Raleigh to Virginia, I had more books than clothes, and I felt like I was going back and forth, from my car to the apartment with all these boxes. And I remember I was getting ready to go in the elevator, and I had just this big box, and this mother and her young son came out, and he was like, "Oh my gosh," because I had a lot of comic books as well, and so I could tell he was fixated, and I was like, if I had time, I would let you read it, but I don't know you, and I got to finish going.
Right, I get it. So tell us, what in 29 years of writing, and you did the first edition, and then you republished the way that you wanted to publish it the first time. What have you learned from this writing process and this writing journey?
I learned patience. It is most certainly and definitely a virtue. I learned how to be patient in a way that was probably uncanny, it was superhuman, because sometimes it feels like it's going to take forever, for you to get the book properly edited. And then once it's edited, okay, now you need to get it typeset. Okay, now it's typeset, you're going to have to get an ebook, that's more money. So, you learn how to structure, yourself. You learn how to be a businessman. You learn how to be self-sufficient, especially when you're a self-published author, such as myself.
Right.
Because you wear a lot of different hats. You have Penguin Books, or Harley Quinn or whatever. They're not doing the book tours for you. They're not lining up these interviews. That's on you. That's on you on social media. In the comment section. That's on you promoting on Instagram. Like a little 5-second video, and then you have to upgrade for another 15 seconds for an IG movie, whatever they call it. So you learn how to put yourself out there.
Absolutely.
Now you don't want to always do it because you don't feel like it, because most of us are working
right
8-hour jobs, but this is a passion, so you're going to find time to do what you want.
No, I totally get that. I have learned so much in this book journey on my side of the ball, learning how big social media plays into getting viewerships for the store itself. Because if the store isn't popular, if the store isn't generating any attractions, then the authors aren't. And that's key for me. So I am always coming up with different marketing techniques. I know when I told you, I was like, when you see me, you see legacy. You will never see one without the other, no matter where I am. If it's a business card, a postcard, doing these podcasts, the pop-up shops, like I take pictures like, okay, wait, before you leave, can you take this picture so I can tag it on social media? So these authors,
Thank you.
you know, I know, right? Like I want them to see. People are like, they're buying your books. Really, I'm not holding on to them. The people are buying them. Look, see, here's a picture.
Here's the proof.
Here's the proof. Like, seriously, look, it's a whole picture with a person right here. No, but I want to say I have doing this for a year. I am surprised by the number of people that do not understand the industry that they're in. That is very puzzling to me.
You said a word. About it.
and it's I'm very, because so quick backstory. Everyone knows the website launched November 1st, 2019. I published the store February 1st to start Black History Month of 2020. Prior to the 2019 launch, I researched for about a year just to determine finances and marketing and websites and who had the best, what was the best web builder? Was it Wix? Was it GoDaddy? Like, where would I get? Then, of course, it was like, oh, crap, you got a bookstore. Where you going to get books from? Like, researched all of that. I actually went and retained and still have a social media and marketing manager to help me even a year later to say, okay, I want to do this. Does this make sense? And help if it doesn't, like, help me make it make sense, or do I just need to scrap it because I'm not there yet? Like, help me understand contracts. Help me, like, if a couple of twice this week, I got questions where my initial thought was, what the? I'm like, okay, time out. Before I answer with the what face, maybe it's something I'm missing. So let me go ask really quickly to see if it's something. And then they gave me, well, I probably wouldn't have asked, but this might have been the reason they asked. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Okay. But the questions they asked, you can tell they did not research before they wrote the book. And that is very puzzling. And that's a question I'm going to ask on Sunday at the book summit. So think about it, because I'm curious if you have other friends, come across other authors at different events, and talking to them, you realize that, did you do any homework before you came here? Because I think a lot of people, it was, oh, let me write a book. I have a character, I have a title, and I want to write. And then they just put it out there. And then it's like,
it's there.
Okay, what else did you do? You know, this is my biggest takeaway. I honestly think people, and by people I mean authors, and this is not a color thing, this is an author thing, do not understand the difference between self-publishing and traditional publishing. Oh, yeah. I don't think they understand their responsibility as an author and the responsibility of a publisher. Here's one thing I do know. You can self-publish your own book, or you can go to a self-publishing company that will guide you through the entire process. They have editors on site. They have graphic designers and illustrators on site to help you with your book cover. They will give you everything you need from start to finish to publish your book the right way. And the only thing they do is they put their stamp or their logo to say, you know, publishing company, but you retain all of your rights. Yeah. They just give you the tools to get it published. And people do not understand the difference. And I'm curious as to, well, why would you write a book and you don't understand where to go, who to go to, why to go to them, what are you going to do when you get there, what are you going to do when you leave?
Yeah.
And you done wrote this whole book that, I mean, I don't know if people are expecting to get rich or they just like, I have the story, it's been in my head for 30 years, I just want to write the book. But then they get mad when they don't necessarily have
the sales.
Right. Because it's like once your whole family done bought the book, because the family's going to buy it. Grandma, Uncle Bob, everybody's going to buy the book. So once all of them have bought the book, and maybe even your coworkers, it's still a world outside of that bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do get your book to that people outside of that bubble that you live in?
And they have no clue. They're like a deer caught in headlights. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've actually experienced it, with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, I spent a small fortune at Barnes & Noble before I wrote her. Like I had an idea. It's okay. I know she's going to be immortal. I know she's going to be black. She's going to have great hair. Okay. But now I need to fill in the blanks. And I remember I went to, I'll tell you, it was Memorial Day weekend, 2015. Mm-hmm. I went to Barnes & Noble, and I must have purchased every writing reference book on conflict, dialogue, plot, the hero's journey. Okay. And there was actually a book that I purchased that said how to write your first novel. So they gave you the steps. They said, okay, so you have the idea of how you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And they tell you in the book, join writing groups, mm-hmm. For, better, readers, to read the manuscript as you're writing it. I mean, it's an actual book that says this is how you do it. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to what you were saying. They're so hungry to get the book out there, but people aren't stupid. They're gonna be like, okay, so you wrote this book. She has powers, but never once did you mention that it was, from another dimension or whatever, or, mm-hmm. We don't even know who she is. We don't know anything about the character because you didn't flesh her out.
Right.
I mean, she's just there. She's just like, a parody of, this sci-fi and fantasy genre. No, it was something that was discussing not too long ago. There are people in the community who, they're just hungry to get the name out there, and and they'll produce books or stories, and there's no business sense. Even when you want to, even when they ask for advice or constructive criticism, they get an attitude, mm-hmm. and it's like, well, I'm good. I mean, I did my research and it was well received, and I'm working on a sequel. But you released your book 5 years ago and you made only $20. I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm. So you take the same courses I took and figure it out.
I mean, and when they ask for advice, you don't have to give it because it's like trade secrets. But if it's someone that you care about, you want to see them, rise up. You want to see them, be successful. But if I'm sending you this long email, or if I'm having this phone conversation with you, and telling you, okay, I would recommend that you go here, read this, mm-hmm. use Google. It's free. Mm-hmm. It's your best friend when you're doing research, and you don't do any of those things, and you get an attitude when I don't want to help you in the future. Go kick those rocks, please and thank you.
Kick all of the rocks.
Just kick them. I mean, just have a little dust cloud when you're walking. I mean, just go.
Skip through the waters, kick all your rocks. I love it. I love it. So you've now working on book 2.
I am.
That as well is going to be self-published too?
Yes. So a question that's usually asked of me is, Malachi, are you going to adapt the novels into graphic novels? The answer is yes, but not right now. Because right now I am so immersed in comic books, superhero and her, it's not even funny. Like I already had the first like 4 issues, Karen.
And
um,
she put that, that's my mom. And she put that because let me tell you, I will tell a person in 2 seconds, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and kick rocks and go on about your business because
it's
I'm
just
not with you today. So I know when she heard that, she was like, now I get where Menina get it from. I'm telling you, kick all of the rocks off the biggest cliff.
Grand Canyon.
Over there. Go off the bridge and kick your rocks with you when you go. All the time. I say it all the time. That's great. But no, continue. I'm sorry.
Right. So right now, I'm just so excited about Winglet's version of her. Like, we got her an actual costume. We have I had this one artist. I got to show you, Menina. He did his version of her, and it was phenomenal. Like the way he did it, he gave her armor. She's underwater, and he had like the jellyfish floating around her. But the way the tail, went around her head, it turned into a crown, and her eyes are glowing blue. It was. I'm gonna show you. It was phenomenal. It was so phenomenal. So now I'm definitely ready to just do the her comic books. I'm actually going to release one next year, and she had her first comic book story this past summer.
Okay.
So it's been exciting. Like I love writing novels, and that's not going to stop. But there's something about seeing the character illustrated, with your words, and it's like, hey, this is someone who didn't exist until I put pen to paper.
Yes, I love it. I'm goosebumps over here. Not even because I'm cold. Like I cannot wait because you will be. Well, you probably wouldn't be surprised, but people that are listening would be. If they're not into comic books, they don't understand how amazing.
Oh yes,
it is going to be when it gets released. Like I am excited. Like in my mind, I already have like marketing ideas. I'm so hoping that 2021 will give us an opportunity to do something small but in person. Like I'm just so excited. Valentino Carter said you released a book 5 years ago and only made $20.
Valentino is he's so trifling. No, but people they amaze me, and sometimes it's not in a good way. Right. And I know everybody's not going to be on the same board, on the same page rather. I get that. But if someone is trying to help you, who's someone who has insight as to how something works, then why are you going to fight them? It doesn't make sense.
Me is you have an expert at your fingertips.
And it's free information they're giving you.
Free information.
They can charge you.
And you don't want to use it. Blows my mind.
Oh. I'm like, okay, you know what?
What's the old saying? You can't make a horse drink water. You can't bring a horse to water. Yeah, I just give them. I would send them over there with the horse in the water. I don't know. What are some of the best resources that you used with writing your books or the comic books?
So it's so, like for me, it's like second nature because I've been reading comic books now on a regular basis since 1996 when Marvel did their Onslaught saga, which was amazing. So for me, like I have like I told you, I have a lot of comic books. So if there's a particular issue that I want to refer to, or if there's a quote that I remember from a comic book from 5 years ago, and there are, I will go to my own archives. If I can't find a particular issue, or if there's an idea that I want to flesh out, I use the internet. Google is your best friend when you want to write a book. Like you read the book, so you remember how I did the ending. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I actually saw a photo shoot showing those characters who I'm going to introduce in the sequel.
Okay.
In the sequel I'm going to call Gods and Monsters. So those gods, I saw. Okay, I have to send you a whole bunch of stuff, obviously. So I gotta start doing a
We're
list or
gonna have a
something.
whole catch-up conference.
We're gonna have to. But the photo shoot, it was breathtaking because it showed, these beautiful black people, wearing this beautiful extravagant clothing, the, different gods from different, pantheons and everything, and it made you really respect, our people. Because for me growing up, all you heard about was just the Egyptian gods and the Greek gods. Like I could tell you their stories because those are always force fed to us. We knew about how Zeus became god of Mount Olympus, and how Artemis sprang from his head in full armor, and how Hades seduced his sister's daughter Persephone, and she became the goddess of the underworld. We know that,
Mhm.
but you didn't know about the Orishas. You didn't know about those characters. So I was like, okay, but those characters are us. You
Mhm.
didn't know about Oya and Shango and Orlan and all these Obatala. You didn't know about them. So
Right.
you have a sense of pride, and when you have that sense of pride and you have that interest, yes, you're
Mhm.
going to research everything. I went to my local library. I tried to find books on African folklore. There wasn't,
Mm.
so I had to go on Amazon and order books because they don't cater to us.
Right.
They don't cater to us. And I'm not saying that you're not going to find at least one black book, because you will. But when you go to Barnes and Noble and you go in that sci-fi and fantasy section and you see that white girl with blonde hair and her hands are glowing, I mean, that's every book cover. You don't see
Mm.
any black women, with the natural hair or the afro holding like a sword or some type of whip. Maybe
Mhm.
some other bookstores, but still,
Right.
and not at Barnes and Nobles.
Mhm.
So, it's very important for us to, to show representation. That's why I love, the indie community, because there's so many like these people of color, these black characters, Latino characters, who are major. They got these cool powers. They have these gritty backstories. And if you don't have the gritty backstory, then you have this long history. They were God's ones, but now they're trapped in the form of a man.
Right.
This is his penance. So I love seeing that. I love what we're building with Wingless.
Mm.
Our characters are so fun, and I can't wait until we do like the annual when everybody meets up.
Right.
To beat the big bad villain.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna keep you in the loop because you need it. I'm gonna help you.
I love and I love that. Like, help me.
I'm gonna help you.
You. I love it. Yes. So, friends of Malachi that are in graphic novels or in comics, if you are looking for a home, please come to legacybookbar.com.
Yes.
There is a home for you here. You could have the cream of the crop, the whole section, because there's no section there. And I mean, come on over.
Come on.
Big old party. Come on over.
Bring your mama.
So tell us. We've gave us a little tidbits, a little bit about the book. So tell us about her. And not everything. I can still have you on the book club, but don't tell everything. But tell them enough to make them want to buy the book. So when we had book club, everybody would be there.
So it is rumored that she was possibly the first woman. She is rumored to be Lucy, the first woman that was found in the Great Rift Valley in Africa, but no one can really say for sure.
Okay.
But what they can say is that she is immortal. She is reborn into new lives. Sometimes she has a different face, a different ethnicity, a different skill set, and sometimes she may have a different power. So when she's born into her new life, she is in dire straits. And I'm not going to say how she is, but she's in dire straits. And, a mysterious man, he saves her. And the thing about it is that she doesn't know who she is. So there's no prior recollection of her past lives. She doesn't know how she came to be in a situation. She's confused and she's scared. So her only lifeline is this stranger who rescued her. But the thing about it is, her power is linked to her identity, and there's an ancient evil that's tracking her throughout time, so he could finish her off once and for all.
Mm.
So that's who she is in the beginning.
Mm. So we just got a comment that said her ... I'm intrigued. Yes.
That's what I want.
Yes. And that was me when I met you at the book expo.
I remember.
I was like, say, she gonna do what now? Let me talk to you, brother. Yeah.
We had our own little conversation. People were talking. Like, you got to go over there.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me finish this. She what? I was so excited. So I think I probably read it in a day. I
Really?
definitely know I have to do a reread. But I definitely read it in a day and was like, lucky you wasn't in my phone on speed dial, because I have been known to text my authors, Indy Jones, if you're listening, and author Serendipity, you already know. I have texted these ladies and be like, say what now? I thought we was friends. I don't even know. And they knew at that point what chapter I was in. They was like, I'm sorry. Like, no, I don't even want to talk to you anymore, because I'm not even gonna finish the book. And then 15 minutes later, I'm like, oh, but let me tell you.
That's how it is. My friend Tiara, I don't know if she's still watching, but she was a big part in me getting the book back out there. So she read the original book with the typos and the cover I was crazy about. And she would text me. She's like, "Oh my God." I was like, "So you up to chapter or whatever?" And she's like, "Yes."
Book with typos.
With the typos. And then she got this book.
Lot is good. Like because you can read over typos, because you can what word should have been there, or if the word is misspelled. But if you have that vivid imagination that can see the story in your imagination as you're reading, you read through them typos. And you the heart of that book is what's going to get you. So she saw that.
She did.
Regardless of the typos. And then, of course, fixing it was like, yes, high five, knocked it out the park. But I like that, because everyone needs that person that sees through that can see through the mistakes, or can see through the tears and be like, nah, bro, sis, I see this. Get this fixed, and you got a gold mine. And that's what she did for you. I applaud her for being that friend.
She really did. Because I tell you, Menina, there was a time when I was so discouraged, with getting, back into the rhythm of getting the book back out there. And I said, you know what, forget it. I'm not even going to do it. And she would tell me, she's like, Malachi, you don't want to give up on it. And I'm like, I'm just over it. And another friend of mine that he's also a big comic book creator. His name is Greg Anderson Elise. He has a book called Is Nana the Were Spider? And pretty much people call him like a Black Spider-Man, but it's so much more, because they dig into the African folklore, because his father is Anansi, the spider god. So Greg, he was very supportive. I remember last year, maybe about a year and a half ago, when I was griping to him. And he said, Malachi, just, you got to stay with it. This is something that, you were destined to do. This is your character. This is something that needs to see the light of day. Absolutely. And so when I released it last October, he was, pushing it. And then Tiara, who was probably doing cartwheels in the corner, was known to do that. But, that's something that people need, especially when you are an entrepreneur. You need to have that network of friends, or a security blanket, because there are going to be days when you're going to feel really low and just over it. And even when the book is out there, maybe the sales aren't going the way that you want, but they are there for you. They're going to lift you up. They may send you a silly meme, or they may even give you a hug. But they are big parts in any author's journey, because they build them up. So I'm always grateful for my friends, and I love them for always being there.
I love it. I love it. God, I can't wait for 2021 to happen.
Right? I'm over this year.
Oh, Lord, I need 2020 to be over. um, no, let's see. Oh, Valentino, which I think he now has the top spot for the best comment.
Oh, what do you say now?
In all seriousness, I am seriously proud and happy for you. Now, when are we getting that action figure?
No, that is in the works.
Oh, sneak peek. You heard it here. Her is about to turn into her own action figure. You heard it.
Big.
You heard it here today. He said it, not me. I just repeated it. He has said she getting her own. Let me tell you something. Y'all need to come on and support this brother, and not because he is a legacy author, but us brown people is getting our own action figures. So your nieces, your daughters, your co-workers' daughters, whomever, we getting our own action figure. So keep abreast of what Malachi is doing. So when we get this action figure, Legacy gonna get it, and we're gonna sell it. Be the top seller all over the place for action. So that's my little quick.
There are a lot of things that
I love it.
I want to do, and an action figure has been like on my mind for a while. So don't be surprised.
I'm ready for it. I got a spot on my bookshelf right now.
Already.
Ready. All you have to do is say, Nina, I'm shipping it to you. Say hello to my son. He's a stalker.
Hey.
Everyone say hi to my son. He's yes. Okay. See, here we go. No, mommy's working. It's okay. We're just gonna come and see.
That's what they do.
That's okay. So we got Keisha Brown said the book is outstanding.
Keisha.
Aaron said, gotta read this book. Yes, Mom, we will read this book together because I can do my reread and then we can text each other about the book and then we can send Malachi an email and be like, ooh.
You hit me
up. You were great this evening. Thank you.
You made so it easy. Much. Thank you.
I'm gonna have you back on Sunday.
Yes, I'll be back.
I'm back on Sunday. So I could have a whole nother hour just talking about the comic books, but I'm going to leave that for another day.
Yes.
Maybe we can do a virtual Comic-Con, all things Black comic.
Cool.
And we can talk about that in 2021. We can, so yes. So all of your years you have been on this planet. Mm-hmm. You have written a novel. You've written Her has turned into a comic book. Her is about to turn into an action figure. We might even get a graphic novel down the line. Like, you are doing it. You are working it, speaking it into existence and creating it. I am so proud of you.
Thank you, Menina. I appreciate it.
So with all of that under your belt, it is 10, 15, 20 years down the line.
Mm-hmm.
You've done all this amazing work. What do you want your legacy to be down the road?
I guess, not to be too deep, with my mom, because she passed some years ago, and she was a big part in the creation of Her. And if you look closely in the book, I actually put my mom in the book. She's in the flashback. And, one of my things that, one of the things that always bothered me when someone passed is that, okay, people mourn, right away. And, they tell you if you need anything, blah, blah, blah. But then people move on with their lives, and it's kind of like, okay, but so-and-so, I still think about her every day. I don't know if you do. So I guess to be remembered, because even with the company that I created Mother One Publications. That was my nickname for my mom, was Mother One. So it's like I guess like for me when I'm about to take my last breath, like I guess I want to be remembered. Like I wasn't just, you know, here for just, an eye blink during existence. I was here and I had something to say. So maybe that's to be remembered.
I love that answer. And that was so you. I love it. Yes. Let me tell you, I love my signature question because I get a different answer, and each answer legit probably brings a tear to my eye
Oh,
because it is so passionate and it is so them in that moment. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Malachi, for joining the
thanks for having
broadcast,
me.
episode 10 of the Sip Chat. Hang out with me. Don't leave for a second. We got a little bit more to talk about with the
Mhm.
audience. Just stay with me, okay?
Okay.
I hope everyone enjoyed tonight's episode of the Sip and Chat. Tonight was episode 10. And of course, we had to do something a little different in a different genre because, of course, it's Halloween.
Mhm.
So hopefully, for those that are going out tomorrow for Halloween, are doing it safe but
Yes.
fun. So please be careful, please be safe, and please note that it is a full moon tomorrow. It's the
Yep.
first moon on Halloween since 1944. That little legacy fun fact. So please be okay. Um, so Legacy Book Bar is coming up on 1 year. If I could do drums, I would. Drum roll, everyone do your own drum rolls. But yes, Legacy has been here for 1 year. And of course, our 1 year anniversary is going to look a little different this year than I originally planned. Thank you, COVID. But I have some amazing authors that, even with changing the platform and the plans, they still rallied and they said, oh, absolutely, I'll be there. So I want everyone to be here Sunday. We are actually starting at 11. Because why? Your girl is fancy. Why? Because we're doing a whole pre-show before the big show. Okay. So from 11 to 11:45, I am going to have some of the newest authors that just signed this week to Legacy Book Bar. So of course, we don't want to leave them out because they just got here.
Mhm.
They are our babies. They are my babies. So I'm going to have them on for the pre-show since we already did time slots and everything for everyone else. But we're still going to have them on. So make sure you are here 11 o'clock on Sunday to watch the pre-show. And then starting at noon, we are going to talk to 13 different authors and 3 publishers. And we are going to talk about the who, the what, the why, the I don't knows, the child. They just crazy. We're going to talk about it all on Sunday. Okay. So tune in. Now, I know you're like, why would she do it on Sunday? Because I was crazy and I didn't really look at the calendar. But November 1st is my anniversary. So we're going to be here. Yes, I know the Ravens are playing. Yes, I know the Steelers are playing the Ravens here in Baltimore. I know. I'm going to probably have the TV on in the background. So if I scream, hey, touchdown, please forgive me. We're just going to keep going with it, okay? But no, you guys are going to want to see some of the most gifted, talented, eccentric, amazing authors that Legacy has to offer. So again, remember, pre-show starts at 11 and then the main show starts at 12. 13 authors. So make sure you tune in. Tomorrow is the last night to use that Boo for You shop code. So if you want to purchase Malachi's book, Her, and you haven't received it yet, haven't got it yet, you can go to www.legacybookbar.com. It is strolling through the feed, so you can't miss it. But again, that is www.legacybookbar.com. You purchase this book today, you can get 10% off the book for that Boo For You shop code up until Halloween. So you guys still have time. Purchase it for a friend, yourself, a coworker. Get it for an early Christmas gift. Just get it because it's an amazing book. And again, you're going to want to be with the cool crew when that graphic novel and that action figure comes. You're going to want to be part of the cool crew. So go get your books today at legacybookbar.com. I'm trying to think there was something else I need to share. Oh, so we have rolled right into quarter 4 of Legacy Book Bar. Again, drum rolls. And I wanted to kind of show the authors and show the audience what the number 1 sellers have been up until quarter 4. So, of course, I'm going to show you the 716 Love and Consequences, book 1 of a 3-book series. This is our number 1 seller for urban fiction. But Stacey Fenner's The Toxic Love Affair, that is creeping up. Who's going to take the crown at the end of the year? I don't know. I'm just excited to see. For sci-fi and fantasy and paranormal, Crimson Hunter by Indy Jones. This is the top 1. Who's going to dethrone the queen at the end of quarter 4? We don't know. For romance, we have Ember's Flame by author Serendipity. Number 1 in romance. If you like romance, and you haven't purchased this book, you're going to want to get this. And of course, where can you get all these amazing books? LegacyBookBar.com. And then if you like children, you have a kid, a niece, a daughter, school-age kid, What Jobs Can Girls Do is becoming a fan favorite here at Legacy Book Bar. And this is starting to be the number 1 seller for self-published authors for our children's edition. So you guys got a sneak peek into the world of Legacy Book Bar. We're going to take the curtains off on Sunday, and you're going to see everybody. I hope to see you back here Sunday, starting 11 a.m. with the Legacy Book Bar Book Summit pre-show. Starting at 11, you're going to want to be here. You guys have an amazing night. Stay safe tomorrow for Halloween, and I'll see you back here on Sunday. Malachi, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And I will see you on Sunday, of course. Everyone, good night, and I'll see you on Sunday.